So, welcome everyone to our breakout session, Educator Partnerships and Collaboration Strategies to Enhance Inclusive Education. That is a lot to say, but it's going to be a great session. My name is Carmen Hopkins. I'm the Director of Supporting Inclusive Practices here in the Riverside County Office of Education. Thomas, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Thomas Veloso. I'm a program support specialist for El Dorado County for SIP Inclusion, and I'm currently located in Berkeley, California. And I'll pass it back to you, Carmen.
Thanks, Thomas. I want to start off today by thanking our two interpreters, Judy Kane and James McDermott. Thank you for supporting us today. Folks, you guys are in for a real treat. We have two exceptional teachers from the Romaland School District, straight out of Mesa View Elementary. They're going to be sharing with us strategies they use to enhance inclusive instruction for all students. If you have any questions while they're presenting, feel free to drop them in the chat. Thomas and I will be monitoring that chat and managing some of your questions. There will be time at the end to unmute if you'd like and ask questions, or continue to put a few in the chat as well. We'll be sharing a few resources at the end as well, so stay tuned for those. I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to our two amazing presenters.
Hi, I'm Ashlyn Castaneda. I am a teacher at Mesa View Elementary. I've been here for 19 years in Romaland School District, and this is my second year co-teaching with Vanessa.
Yeah, I'm Vanessa Clark. This is my 7th year in Romaland School District. However, 5 of those years I was a substitute, and I had done a couple long-term sub jobs in the 5th grade at Mesa View, and that's where I first met Ashleen. But now this is my 2nd year as a general education teacher and 2nd year co-teaching as well. We were hoping that you guys could jump on the chat and just kind of share out where you're from and what your role in education is, just so we can see kind of who's our audience today.
So as you guys do that, we're going to go ahead and get started with our presentation. So this co-teaching model for us started really organically and collaboratively. And it began with a shared enthusiasm of seeing our students succeed in both the general ed environment and the learning center.
Yeah, so Ashleen had a caseload where she needed to come into my classroom specifically for 60 minutes a day. So we chose to do our math block during that time. So Ashleen would come in 3 days a week for an hour during math. And initially, we were just doing the one teach, one assist model, where I would basically do the direct instruction for our math. And Ashleen would kind of circulate the classroom, and she would offer assistance to any of those kids that needed modifications, or just kind of help staying focused on the lesson itself. But then one day, I was doing a math lesson, and I started to notice I hadn't got my entire group on the same page. I started to see some of those kind of confused faces, looks on their faces. So I actually just stopped mid-lesson. I was thinking, like, should I just push through, or what should I do in this case? I was a newer teacher. I decided to stop. I stopped mid-lesson, and I looked right at Ashleen and said, is there another strategy or something maybe you do in the Learning Center that you can show us?
So gladly, I took that pen from Vanessa, and I continued to teach some other strategies that we modified for our students in the Learning Center. And as we looked around the room, we started noticing was like light bulb moments with our students, and we were catching all of our students. And that's when we really realized there was something to this.
Yeah,
we didn't know what to call it yet, but we knew we wanted to keep doing this.
Yeah, it was kind of cool because our students got those light bulb moments as well as us. We were like, this is working. This form of instruction is able to capture all of our students all at once.
So in balancing our responsibilities as we went along with this process, Vanessa is in charge of the curriculum and the pacing expert, and she stays along with our 5th grade team here at Mesa View. And we just stay on that pacing guide with a few tweaks of like slow it down or go a little faster.
Yeah. So I definitely work with my team with the fifth grade team and keep up with them. But then I incorporate Ashleen by like, she's really the expert. She has provided modifications and different scaffolding strategies that I brought into my classroom. With that, we have been using a integrative math or
interactive
Yeah.
notebook as well as a math toolkit. So all of our students in Vanessa's class all have that interactive notebook that we take our notes in and we develop as the year goes by. And then they all have a math toolkit, which has all the math resources that they would need throughout the year.
Yeah. So one example is something like a multiplication chart. So typically I was seeing that in the classroom where maybe a couple of kids were offered that. In our classroom, we really offer it to every student, every single student. So that's kind of taken away those barriers. We all look the same now during math. In fact, we've made it a non-negotiable. Before I start any math lesson, their tools need to be out. They need to have them out so that way their neighbors aren't looking different. No one looks different in our classroom. We all look the same. We all start with the same opportunity and the same tools. And some students can progress and kind of, stop using those tools, but we ask that they're always out and available.
And it really does help us assist in reaching those tier 2 and tier 3 students who may or may not have accommodations or may have been identified. But now all students look equal. And we've had equity walks come into our classroom and sit. And what we have found is since all the kids are using the same tools, you can't tell anymore who are students with disabilities or on IEP. All students look and feel the same in our classroom.
Yeah, it's really our way of making sure everyone sees ability rather than disability.
So our vision is definitely having a classroom where everybody is seen and to increase our time to co-teach. We want our students to feel as one and we give them the opportunity to succeed.
We definitely do. So one of the things that we're working on is right now, this will be our second year doing a math block. However, next year, we're really excited to introduce another model of co-teaching. We want to do station rotation. And in that block, we want to incorporate a writing block with our students.
Yeah, wish
So
us
we're,
luck.
yeah. So we're just kind of taking what's working so far and building on it. And that's really our goal for right now. Let's see how far we can take this. How much can we,
We want to stretch ourselves and our students as well. And some of our ways of doing this, like our communication feedback, are in the moment. We definitely value just the small amount of time we have to get through and figure out what are those in the moment conversations. We do a lot of phone calls, we do a lot of pre and post teaching, and a lot of that just looks very organic again of we dismiss our students to lunch and then we have a 10-minute, 15-minute debrief.
Yeah. So we're able to really, focus on the next day's instruction. Who do we need to reteach? What can we do? How can we supplement those students with additional tools? What can we do to just reach the broader spectrum of our whole classroom?
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of want to show you guys what it looks like. We want to start off by saying at the beginning of this, we had complete imposter syndrome. People were coming into our classroom and letting us know, hey, you guys are co-teaching. This is awesome. And we looked at each other and we were like, we are? We had no clue. We didn't have a name for it at that time. We were just being told like, well, it's great. And we saw the success for our students. So we knew we had something. We just didn't really necessarily have a name for it. So we've been going to some conferences and we had an opportunity to go see another site and see kind of how they do their modeling of co-teaching. So our model has definitely evolved in this whole process.
Mm-hmm.
So the way it looks now is that we've transitioned into more of a team teach during our math box. So that means literally her and I are standing up at the front teaching together. We interject. We do that a lot. We are sharing the pen completely during our direct instruction. We want to keep that time to about 15, 20 minutes. And then we break into what we refer to as parallel teaching. So we've identified our students into a mild, medium, and a spicy group. So after we deliver that team teach, And our spicy kids are the ones that are ready to go ahead and work independently. They're released and they go back to their desk and they are given their assignment. They can maybe, they're working on a worksheet, and that usually progresses to something online like an IXL. And then we always offer some sort of extension piece, because they're ready. They are ready. They already got that lesson down. During that time, we are closed in our own stations. I work with the medium group, and so I have a group of like a small group, about 6 or 7, and it does fluctuate. And during that time, I am having them more work with partners. So we're doing a lot of think, pair, share, and I'm just kind of checking in. I'm still there, doing more of the gradual release. So as I see the students being successful, then I gradually release them back to the independent work side, and they start working independently now. So now I have 2 groups doing independent, and 1 group is still with Ashleen. But that frees me up. I'm sorry. That frees me up. So then I can go circle back and check in on all the independent workers.
So I have the mild group during that time, and those can be, they're very much homogeneous groups. So there are times where it's the students that have an IEP that are on my caseload, and other times where other students are joining us because they didn't really understand that concept or lesson. And during that time, I do a small group reteach, and then it's a we do, you do. And then as I'm seeing students are getting it, then I'll gradually release them back as well. And one of the really cool things that we've seen is as our students are independently working, we've had students self-identify that they need more support. So those students then come back to my desk again and either ask for more support or just clarification. And that could be like 2 students, maybe 3 at times, but that also gives us a good understanding of what are we doing for tomorrow and what do we need to review.
Yep. So kind of how our co-teaching spaces stand out, what we've noticed in our journey together. Well, one, the kids are getting 2 teachers. It's very engaging to have 2 of us up there at one time. Just like 2 brains work better than 1, So we are designing these lessons together, and we're delivering them together, and we have more sets of eyes on the students, and we're able to see who's getting what and who needs what.
Yeah, and we're definitely tailoring those lessons to meet those diverse needs of our students. So again, we take that pacing where our students are, and inclusion is the norm. It's just what our students feel and what they see. And the biggest part is what they feel every day.
Definitely. Students are looking forward to it so much. In fact, when I start a math lesson, if Miss C hasn't made it into our classroom, it's like, wait, everyone stop. The students call me out. Mrs. C hasn't come in yet. So she definitely has to make her way into our classroom before we can even start that math block. At the beginning, when we started this, we had kids asking me, can I go to Miss C's learning center? Like they want to leave the classroom and be part of her classroom. When she comes in, they've accepted her fully as their second teacher. They truly get 2 teachers. It's been really nice to see. They are definitely looking forward to it. She often gets like a round of applause as she enters my room.
And the cool thing is that they don't see just a general ed teacher and a special ed teacher anymore. They just know me as another teacher on campus, and they really don't, they have invisible barriers now. Like we don't know that who has a IEP, who gets what accommodations, because really, truly, it feels the same and it looks the same for all of our students.
Yeah, it's great to see. I mean, within our own classroom, they don't see anyone different. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So one kind of special story was the last day of school last year. We did a special shout out for all of the students. So I had them in a circle. One student would be focused, and then we'd go around and say like what they really appreciate about that student. Before we could even start that, everyone called me out again. Wait, Mrs. Clark and Mrs. C is not here. Get her on the phone. She has to come in. So of course I sat there and I was like, let's get her on the phone. She came rushing over. And it was such a neat activity to do. One, our students were really reflecting on like others' strengths. We had a lot of artists in the classroom, so they were like, I like the way that you really take your time to your art. I like the way that you use your toolkit. It was like things that we were hearing were really special. And then they turned it around on us and like let us know how much they appreciate our support.
It was definitely a hallmark moment. And it's like the highlight of why we are doing what we're doing and taking it forward this year.
Definitely.
So the leadership role in our collaboration has been imperative. So our leadership has really provided those opportunities for us to go to conferences, and we've gone to the Chime Institute. We've seen inclusion in different models, and it gives us that feeling like we aren't imposters anymore. We really know what we're doing, but it also validates that. It gives us that encouragement to know, like, let's go bigger, let's dive deeper, and our principals and administrators are giving us and encouraging us to take that time to do those things.
Yeah, I also want to point out, like, wow, we did feel like imposters during that time. Our administration was saying, no, you guys are doing great. This is great. They really put a focus on co-teaching does not have to look one certain way. There are several models of co-teaching, and you can change those and adapt them to what fits your students' needs and your own needs. We enjoy this so much, and we want to keep pushing ourselves. And we also know it's okay to like not be perfect.
Yeah, we definitely have that fall forward mindset. Like,
Definitely.
let's keep going and let's see where this takes us.
Yeah, in fact, one of our lessons last year, we had taken so much time to plan what we thought was going to be an epic lesson. We were going to teach graphing on a coordinate plane using the iconic game You Sunk My Battleship. And we had planned it out. We thought it was flawless. We were using all of these, fun interactive things to get the math concept. We did the team teach where we were both delivering instruction. We sent them on their merry way to go ahead and complete the assignment. And
very shortly after, we had some of our higher students saying, this doesn't work. You guys have a flaw in your game plan. We were like, no. Let us just show you again.
Mm-hmm.
So we tried to reteach it, and then we looked at each other and we were like, oh, this does not work.
Yeah.
So
the content was there. Like the math worked, just our game concept.
Our delivery was not there.
So I was, again, in a panic, being a first-year teacher, looked to her, and she looked at me and she's like, this is what we're going to do. Everybody, take your paper. We all took our paper. She said, crumble it up. And then that's when she really had me like, what are we doing, Ashleen? This doesn't make any sense. This doesn't sound right. And she said, snowball fight. And we all threw the paper around the classroom. And that really, like, for us, it felt really, really great. Like, to show them, we make mistakes. You guys are going to make mistakes. This is going to happen. This is part of learning. But again, that fall forward, we like turn that around. We forgot about it. The next day, we made our corrections, of course. And the next day we went in to reteach, and it worked.
Yeah.
So that was one of the times that we actually developed one of our classroom mottos, which is if somebody makes a mistake, we yell out, that's okay, because mistakes make us great. And our kids have latched onto that. Last year's kids are now in 6th grade. I'm lucky enough to kind of still see them in the neighborhood, and they still say the same little things that we've been saying. I got an email earlier in the year, and they were saying, oh, Mrs. Clark, 6th grade's a little tough, but that's okay, because mistakes make us great. So like that's something that will always stick with me. And, I hope those students, it was a really, really great learning opportunity. And it just showed me like this model works. This is really giving those kids that
growth
opportunity.
mindset.
Yeah, the growth mindset.
Like,
and even now they like point out their mistakes. They're like, I missed the math because of this step. But tomorrow when I do this, I have now identified my step and I will make that correction.
So what we wish we knew before we started this is that you can start small and build upon it. You don't have to go gung-ho and, be perfect. There is no perfect version of this. There's a version that works for you and your co-teacher. And that is where we want to expand. And there are different models. And so we would just encourage you to try things that feel comfortable with you and just keep going back to like what feels good, what is working for our students.
Yeah, most importantly, like what's working, what can we continue to do, and what can we, just change and evolve from. It's also like I really enjoy working with Ashleen. It's a fun environment. We have a great time with our students. We laugh a lot. We sometimes they tell us like we finish their sentences. It's a real fun time during math.
Yeah, and we just have seen so much success with our students. We just got told that our block of students right now was the most successful in our growth. So, I mean, we're doing something that is working across the board. And it's really validating for our students to see this is working as well as ourselves to encourage us to keep going.
Yeah.
And then what we enjoy most about our collaborative partnership. So I've been teaching for 21 years, and it's really refreshed like my take on teaching. I look forward to the block where I'm going into Vanessa's classroom and we are sharing a classroom, because really that's what we're doing. It's definitely enhanced my teaching practices. We are constantly giving each other feedback and like exploring like, okay, but next year we'll do this.
Yeah, we'll change the math toolkit. We'll add one additional support. We'll do this. Like it's constantly changing. For me as a newer teacher, that on-the-spot reflection has really helped in my education, growth. So just like being able to read the room a little bit quicker, being able to consult with her at the end and say, hey, like what were the highlights? What should we change? I was used to doing a lot of reflective practices, but those were mainly with myself. This time now I get to do them right after our lesson. It's like quick, it's on the spot. It's really great feedback.
Yeah. And it's just provided like also that debrief time, and we did learn at our last conference that, it can take 15 minutes if you're really specific about what you're talking about and what you're looking through the lens of, you're going to be able to debrief and figure out the next steps pretty quickly. And our biggest takeaway is that it's really cultivated a space of inclusivity for our students, for ourselves, and we have a lot more people starting to kind of ask us questions like, how does that work? What are you guys doing?
Yeah, and we definitely have an open door policy. I mean, we were getting a lot of people from outside sources coming in, like other school sites, but we're encouraging our teachers here on campus, come on by, check it out. There are a lot of aides that are available that are kind of interested in doing this. So we have said, like, do you want to see how it looks? And you can just start where you feel comfortable. We really want to encourage anyone out here to go ahead and just dive in. Start with something. Start small.
And it is scary at first, we're not going to lie, but going forward, you're just going to see how much your students have the buy-in. And I think for us, the key takeaway is, once your students have that buy-in, then you're motivated and that ball just keeps rolling. And then you have a really great environment to come to work every day.
Yeah, I look forward to it every day.
For sure. So at this time, we are inviting you, if you have any questions for us, we'd like to
anything.